Welcome to the Vision Profiles podcast. Join us, two dedicated Apple Vision Pro users, as we dive into everything from hardware to software and the apps that are out there, plus the latest updates on the world of Apple Vision Pro. I'm Marty Gensius. My full-time job, should be right here, actually. But I work as a faculty member at Kent State University, a podcaster, and an avid Apple product fan.
And I'm Eric Bolton. I work in IT. And, today how do I get out of the way of this poor turkey? Today I'm hiding from turkeys, but, I guess we can almost see it. Trying to find interesting way to share content when my head is not hiding the poor turkey. Photography of plants and birds and panoramic sequences.
Before we started the episode, Eric was desperately trying to find pictures of turkeys to show in his background. So this is what you'll be experiencing maybe through the night when he's not distracted by actually the content of the show. This is our pre-Thanksgiving show, and we talked a little bit about you're still trying to decide on what the menu is going to be at your household and with your friends, and but on my end, I'm preparing to go hundreds of miles away to my sister-in-law's house, and I don't do Thanksgiving dinner there. I do the day after Thanksgiving. So I am, instead of going there, spending all day cooking 5 different proteins, I'm cooking them here. So the next 2 days will be, and I'm almost done, cooking the proteins and then freezing them so I can take them to where we're headed in the car. And then come the day after Thanksgiving, my preparation will be a little bit easier than cooking all the proteins and doing all the thing. I'm doing a Mexican meal, which I've never cooked before. So that's always the experiment. Every Thanksgiving, the day after, I get to come up with either a theme meal or a particular cuisine. So that I'm trying to get the proteins out of the way, so I'm not in my sister-in-law's house, cooking 10 pounds of hamburger. We got 28 people coming, 10 pounds of hamburger for tacos,
Wow.
Then chicken, then shrimp. So I'm sort of into my Thanksgiving cooking mode right now. And maybe we'll be able to relax when I finally get there. But still, we have Vision Pro news.
Are you using recipes in the Vision Pro to do all of your cooking?
I'm more of an intuitive cooker, which means I'll read a bunch of recipes and go, I think I'll do this with it. So shrimp tacos, I'm trying to find a good coating for shrimp tacos. And, it's just basically the same kind of spice that I have in everything else. So I'm going to try and use bay spice with the shrimp for shrimp tacos, which will be interesting. I think my daughter thinks it's a brilliant decision. So no, I don't. I read enough recipes to figure out what I have to do and kind of the proportions of what I need to put in it. I do use a bunch of recipe apps when I'm getting real serious, but, so in order to do the tamales, I've read a bunch of recipe apps. I've tried them twice before, and I think I've got them to perfection. So enough about this. We don't need to talk about food. They're going to be sick of it over the next couple of days. So let's start out with the news. And one of the things that's in the news is, there is a website called Patently Apple, and they made this last Thursday, there was a filing with the patent office, and apparently it was the largest dump of Apple Vision Pro related patents in a single day. So all kinds of patents that are related. Things like, as we go down here, the two-handed gesture, and how that works. uh, the head mountable display with a whole series of patent numbers associated with that, and then other patent, Vision Pro related patents. What do you think this is about? Do you have any idea, Eric?
Well, I mean, they probably didn't want to roll all those patents out too far in advance because then everybody could see what might be coming.
Yeah.
And they don't always show up instantly, right? It takes a while to file everything. So, maybe it was just, I'm assuming after they did the announcement and showed everything, they could start dumping stuff. I think there were a bunch of changes, with the new OS, just with the initial OS, even. I think that there was just so much stuff developed to make all of this work that's different from what you would do with an iPad. So I guess I see this as all of the differences between iPad OS and what you actually get with Vision OS.
Do you think this is maybe a tip to the developers or a tip to people who might be looking at creating peripherals for it?
No, because that would be like user guidelines and things like that. I think
Yeah.
this really and truly is, there was a lot of stuff worked on and ironed out and developed just to make everything work. And they spent a lot of years rolling out all of the pieces, and there's a lot of unique stuff. And as we're seeing with everybody else kind of pushing out changes in their headsets, there's some really good ideas in there.
Well, if you're a patent nerd and you're trying to avoid your relatives during Thanksgiving, you've got plenty of fine reading to do if you want to do that. Another article, it's that time of year. What are the best VR? This came out of Engadget, so I thought I would share it. And it's their ranking. You get these year-end lists of the best of, and they've started early with the best VR headsets for 2024. Well, guess what? They're not a lot out there.
But they got the price in.
Yeah. And you can see a quick overview of the article if you don't want to go into it. They really didn't do comparisons between the different headsets. They just said, we're going to call this the best next-gen VR AR headset category because that's where we're going to talk about Apple Vision Pro. Or we're going to talk about the best VR headset, not VR AR headset, VR headset overall. That's where we'll talk about Meta Quest 2. And then we'll talk about the best value. And that's where we'll talk about Meta Quest 3. So it's almost like, and then the best console for it is PlayStation. And they go into, again, giving you and they do have a separate one for best PC VR headset for gamers. It's the Valve Index VR kit.
So everybody gets a participation ribbon.
And this is what the problem is with kids these days. They all got participation ribbons.
Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting article from Engadget. Pros and cons, and then values where you can buy them, linking to some of their affiliates, I'm sure.
See, I would like to see somebody do an end of year review on best displays, and then go out on a limb and then put the Apple Vision Pro in as a display.
Yeah, that's interesting thinking in terms of being able to do that. That it's being seen as a remarkable display, particularly for entertainment issues and entertainment kinds of things. There is another article by Edge Middle East, and I thought it was kind of interesting because it is talking about retail and how Vision Pro is really going to have potentials for retail. Now, again, this is Edge Middle East, and realize that Vision Pro just was released in UAE a couple of weeks ago. And so to me, it's interesting that they have this article following. And then and so it's basically an interview, from what I can tell, speaking with I don't know who they're speaking with. They don't have that listed, but it's written up like it's an interview. Yeah, it's written in the format of an interview, like questions to some unknown person. Will Apple
Interesting.
stores foster more of a community around Vision Pro as it reshapes how we interact with technology? And then the idea of buying things through the headset. And then store design. And there are a couple of apps out now that are just about establishing a store design. If you want to use the app to kind of set up your displays, you can do that to figure out how you're going to lay your store displays out. So interesting. All right. Well, we usually have a section on betas, and I took it all the way up to about 20 minutes before the show, and no betas.
Next week.
You think? What are we
Yep.
going to get?
Monday or Tuesday, final version.
Final version already of 2.2, but then will it be released the following week, or is that the release?
I think it'll be Monday or Tuesday. I don't know if they will release Mac OS updates on one day and iOS the other, or if they'll try and do them all at once. Or I think there's going to be a whole pile of updates because you couldn't do it this week because of Thanksgiving. Too many people out taking vacation. If you wait until too late in December, then it's too close to the holidays and when Apple's off. So you got to release it soon enough so that if there's any issues, you could still come out with a fix. And the previous dates mentioned was the 9th. So I'm going for the 9th or 10th of next week.
Really? I think that's optimistic. Well, not no, because the next week will be too close to Christmas.
Yep.
Yeah, you're probably right on that. But I'm not a betting man. Thank God.
I do have one question for you because, I'm sharing this Vision Pro, and I'm thinking I might have to go for my personal one. What size would you buy in the Apple Vision Pro? I mean, if you're using it primarily as a display with maybe an occasional game, do you really need any space?
When I first put my order in, I put in for 1 terabyte. I figured if I'm spending this amount of money on it, I might as well get a terabyte. And then something happened with the order because I had the wrong light seal number in it because I did the original measure with my glasses on, dummy. And so I went back to change it, and I decided that I could probably knock it down to 512. And that's what I did. And then I was going to get 2 light shields just to see which one worked the best. So I knocked it down. I knocked it down to 512, and I haven't had any problem with space on it. I'm not doing video editing yet, but I still bet you I've only got about 150 gig handled on it at this point. So I wouldn't go 256.
You wouldn't?
I wouldn't go 256. I don't know. What do you think?
Just pushing that too close? Well, I've got a 512. And that's more than enough for everything I've thrown at it. And I'm not too worried. I'm probably never going to really fully edit on the Vision Pro because I'm just going to share an M4 Mini and do most of my processing there. So my content will be sitting over there. Everything else will be sitting over there. And I know I can carry it around. So, yeah. So I'm kind of going back for it. Maybe I'll do 512 because it's not that much more expensive. And I know that works for me.
Yeah. And you won't ever have to pay attention to how full it is if it's been working for you at this point. Whereas if you drop down, you might be tempted to. And I think, I don't know, maybe you're not or
Oh,
not the
the
app.
chat is busy on this question.
Yeah, I
So
don't
yeah,
regretting a
just
terabyte. Yeah.
if you download a lot of content, having more space makes sense. But if you're not downloading much at any given time, or you can easily grab it, then yeah, maybe I'll try a 256 and see what happens. And if I don't like it, I will swap with the other two people I'm sharing with.
No. Okay.
See if they notice.
So you're gonna stick them with the smaller headset.
Well, I mean, because all they're doing is watching videos for the most part, and they're all sitting on fast networks in town. So I don't think it matters. They're not storing anything on the device.
Well, most of all,
Yeah.
make sure you don't make any public announcement of what you're going to do with
Oh,
these
yeah,
folks.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I would let them know so that I'll probably ask them because I figure if nothing else, they'll get more time because I won't be using it 100% of the time instead of the third of the time I'm supposed to use it.
Yeah. Well, I hope that Christmas present comes your way, and it works out for you with that. Um, I don't know. There's some other stories. Let's move on to some of the stories here. And this one, I think you and I both admit we're not F1 Formula One kind of. At least I'm not. I don't think you are either. Into
But it
Formula
looked
One
good
at all.
enough. Yeah, it looked good enough. I
Yeah,
almost spent money on it.
yeah. That's the thing. When you have your own headset and you go, I can get along with a 256, you start buying apps. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah, you're right.
So let's take a look at this. This is a Formula One article that came out. And basically, it's the app called Lapz. And they were doing some neat stuff with, putting in, you can see in the diagram here, you can see the layout of the actual lap or the actual course that someone was. And then you can see different points where the video is coming from that. So it's a pretty cool app. And I saw something through Reddit where they had multiple live streams going on at different points in a race or from different cars in a race. And I'm like, that was the one that's like, okay, I think I might have to put down a subscription for this. It was really pretty cool. But they got into a little bit of a problem because apparently they did not have licensing to do some of the material that they were doing. So they kind of had to cease and desist, I guess, with their current process of using it. So maybe they'll rise again. We hope that
Yeah.
it'll happen soon. And then I'm switching directly to the William Shatner article. I guess that's maybe the best way to put it. 765874 Unification. Talk to me about this, Eric. Let's find out a little bit more. You have delved into this more than I have because you've been text messaging.
I just thought it was a neat video. And so I watched the video. It's always interesting to me when when someone puts out a video and they are able to either de-age an actor or modify it or just completely artificially generate everything. Um, it was neat to see a scene that didn't actually exist before, and that wasn't just pieced together by clipping scenes from 15 different movies. Parts of it, the look was good, but not necessarily accurate to the current actors at the time. So, but it was still neat to see. I don't have a firm opinion yet on whether or not we should be able to use AI to generate whole scenes. I think that could get abused pretty easily. It looked like in this case there was cooperation to generate something like this, and for this kind of clip that was, I think, well worth it. It was a good use of the technology.
Mm-hmm. I brought this up at Bagel Church. Bagel Church is a Sunday morning thing that I do where my kids come over and we have a little bit of, we don't go to church. We just come over and eat bagels. So I call it Bagel Church. And I told my family, I said, if you can get any money for it, go ahead and sell my image and let people do the most horrible, horrendous use of my image that they want to, as long as they pay for it. Because this is William Shatner cashing in on his celebrity status and his kind of historic parts. Why can't I cash in on just my face being used for humor, for fun? So my kids are all in on that. They just want to make sure they send it. They just want to make sure the check gets sent to the right place. So yeah, I really haven't looked at this yet. I really want to look at it, but it brings the idea up of maybe celebrities will never die. At least the ones who want to permit themselves to never die. I think there's going to be a group of folks who are like, no, when I'm gone, don't have me do commercials for cigarettes or whatever. Just let me go. Don't use or sell my image. But apparently the Shat is right on it already. And at 93 years of age, he's letting his image be used to create new content and to be used in new content. So it's pretty cool.
There are a lot of possibilities for fan fiction, and that I'm happy about.
Some really freaky, creepy fan fiction.
It has been many decades since Captain Kirk was this in shape.
Yeah.
They made him look, really pretty good.
Yeah, he's got that little kind of pompadour thing going on the top of his head. So we have a couple articles on that. And then just if you didn't think you had enough to spend money on for Christmas, if you thought maybe the Vision Pro was a little too cheap as it was, you might want to take a look at the Caviar Oracle, which is basically an Apple Vision Pro that's been jacked up in terms of luxury. So it's the gold watch of the Apple Series 1 or Series 0. And they do customization. We have another article about some group doing customization in here. But if you really want to look like you've got some money to spend, starting at $26,700 for the 256 gigabyte model. There you go, Eric. And then $29,700 for the 1 terabyte.
Wow.
So $1,000 between, no, not $1,000. Geez, $3,000 between the 256 and the 1 terabyte. So they're even outpacing Apple with their costs for memory storage. But yeah, this is one of those deluxe celebrity kinds of things that you would be looking at. Any of that?
Yeah. Now, if it came with a jacket too, okay.
Oh, the coat would be the thing that would sell you on a $30,000 piece of information.
Oh yeah. Or full on steampunk and give me a balloon to go with it.
Yeah, steampunk. I can see that. Let's take a look at this article, which is they never stop. If you didn't know, there are people. Well, at Phone Arena, the place I always go for Vision Pro information. I'm sorry to say this feels a little bit like clickbait. Hey, by the way, in the second sentence, they tell you the price tag. And I'm just a little worried that I just clicked on something and directed a bunch of people to this particular article to be told stuff that the same complaints or the same concerns that they've heard multiple times before. But that's what we do here. We keep you up with that stuff. They talk about the Belkin head strap. I have one, and I really like the Belkin head strap as an addition to the Solo strap. It seems to do a nice job of. I don't notice the. I don't notice the weight as much, and so I was reading people's reviews on it through Reddit. Generally positive. There are folks who still like Anna Pro. I couldn't get one to fit on my head. There are others folks who said, "Oh, you can get the Spidgen one really cheap on Amazon," but and they thought that the Belkin was overpriced. Yeah, probably, but it is kind of seamless in the tightening and closing of it, and the
Yeah,
Spidgen one
that's nice.
is klutzy, is really klutzy. So you pay for that difference. But I do notice a difference in terms of. I mean, the weight never really bothered me, anyways. But I do notice it feels much more secure on my head. That it's less. If I lean forward, I'm not going to. It's not going to slip out of place. So yeah. This one I really want your opinion on. This is comes from gbnews.com. Vision Pro could change photography forever, and team at Apple says iPhone users should begin preparing now. And I'll go to the article for folks who want to see what we're talking about or what it looks like. Britain's news channel, GB News. Oh, and they quote the price in pounds.
Wow, that makes all the difference.
Yeah, you can get a bargain in pounds.
Huh.
And it's basically talks about what the Apple Vision Pro can do. What is the Apple Vision Pro? Come on. This is what you're covering at this point in your tech news. What is the Apple Vision Pro?
It was a little slow news day, and they didn't have anything better. There's not a whole lot of, in some sense, there's not a lot of depth to it, because really, they're not covering the Apple Vision Pro. They're covering spatial video and spatial stills.
Yeah.
And that is kind of interesting. I mean, and the idea that you can convert images to spatial images, that is really cool. But from the title of the headline, I guess I was assuming they were thinking, well, you should just start taking spatial images right from the start, because everyone's going to do it. I wasn't entirely sure that the contents of the article totally followed that, but
hey, this ad reminds me. Have you seen this Concert for One?
Do you have opinions on it?
Oh boy, do I have opinions on it.
It was interesting. Parts of it were awesome. Do we have this listed separately? I can wait.
No, it's not listed separately. I forgot that it was, and I was going to put it in. So I'm glad we ran across the ad, because I kind of wanted to talk about it. If you've done the submerged video, what you have is the camera trying to tell a story. If you've seen The Weeknd, what you've got is a music video with depth of field and some interesting effects. But it's meant to be more cinematographic than what Concert for One is. Concert for One is this artist is all capital letters, because that's what they do these days. Doing a combination of blues, jazz. I was getting like an Amy Winehouse feel from her in it. And I'll tell you that the quality of the video was incredible. My one complaint was she got a little too close to me. She was like, I was sitting on the couch, stretched back, and it was the worst lap dance I ever had. Let's just put it that way. It was just too close.
You were watching it fully immersive, right?
Yeah.
Go back and watch it again and take it out of full immersive so it's in a window.
Yeah.
So this is one of those good examples of, I don't think the people filming the spatial videos have gotten enough experience yet to really know how to put it together and edit it. Because if you watch it in a window, those close shots are fine because there's the window puts some distance and she's actually set back from that. If you watch a spatial, it removes the frame and brings her out, so you lose the necessary distance unless you're from a part of the country where every conversation is within inches of each other. So maybe the person filming it is from New York or something. But if you take it out of space, it moves it back and then it's good. But then the parts where they're not really close is too far away. So I had to watch it twice, once immersive and once not. And then I had parts where I wanted it one way and parts where I wanted it the other way.
Yeah, I had to watch it once and then go outside and smoke a pack of cigarettes. It was just too close for me.
Yeah.
And just too, and there's some chat in our chat room is talking about it, Kern, and talking about the kind of, when you get too close, you see everything.
Yeah, but if you put it in a window, so she's back a bit, then it's at a VIP audience position distance. I don't necessarily want to be standing on the stage as if I'm the microphone. That's too close.
I don't want to be spit on by the artist.
Yeah, concert for one, yes, the kind of intimate feel of being right there. But even if I'm the only person there, the immersive was way too close. I and you couldn't really get a feel for everything around her because it was too much. But when I watched it in a window, it was really kind of nice because you would have the whole group, and then you get to see her, and then you go back to the whole group and the distancing. So I don't know if when they were editing it, they edited everything in a window and nobody checked. Maybe nobody had a headset and they were all doing it kind of with an editor. But I was glad to see it. I'm hoping that the how far away do you have to be kind of evolves and people get used to that.
Yeah, I was disappointed that there was not more use of the band. And what I mean by that is there was not, it seemed to be a single photographer. There wasn't, or a single camera placement. Didn't get as much in to see what the other musicians and singers were doing. They focused on one singer over and over and over again. Support backup singer. But that was about it. That was about it. I've got to tell you, this comes closer to the type of music that I want to see. And again, I had to think about it. Submerged is a story. When I'm watching it, that I'm immersed in the story. The Weekend is a music video, and the photography and the effects. Although I think I've seen those before. Those kinds of.
And for me, the start of this video where you see her and she's a little bit of distance away, and then you get the band and the singers. There is a moment right near the beginning where the audio is perfect. The audio to the two ears, it's really nice. Really, I almost want to go back and listen to it once with the headset and once with AirPods to see if the spatial audio, what the differences are. It wasn't quite the same throughout the whole video, but there were places where the spatial video was good and seemed to really fit. Again, I think as more of these come out and there's more experience, it will get better and better.
Yeah, chat room's going. I'd love to see the chat room going. Thank you, Gern and Oliver.
Multiple
in terms
views, that would be great.
Yeah, some great ideas. So thanks for adding that in. I kept finding articles and I kept saying, this is the one that Eric needs to talk about. So, because so much of this is like in your field, in what you do. Reimagining work from home with a rolling desk and a shoulder bag for Vision Pro or Quest. And I have yet to see workable stuff on Quest. I haven't spent a lot of time there, I'll admit it. But, they're talking about remote work and how you can use VR and how it can be effective in that. Virtual display.
Yeah, nice. I think I forgot to add it in here, but I sent you a text earlier in the week about somebody taking their Vision Pro to the library
Yeah.
with an M4,
An M4 MacBook Pro?
an M4 Mini.
That's interesting.
I think it was a Mini. I'm pretty sure. At any rate, if we can add that in there, that would be worth it.
Okay.
It because it has a picture of a virtual display above the Mini in the library, just which I think also is a good example of the same sort of thing they're talking about here. And I can see this in a lot more spots where small apartments, or a spot where there's just too much stuff around, places where you really could use a much larger display, but it just is not going to fit in that spot. And the Apple Vision Pro can fill in for that. It really is nice.
So, are you a Muppet fan? I kind of pegged you for a Muppet fan.
I know a lot of Muppet fans. I kind of missed it. I was a little late for the Muppet, and
yeah, I know what you mean, but it was, the Muppets have always, in some capacity, have that adult edge.
Yes,
I mean, even when they
very
were
much.
on Sesame Street, Sesame Street was made interesting to adults because of the use of the Muppets and the Muppet structure and the kind of Muppet humor that goes along with it. Well, they're going to replace, Disney's going to replace Muppet Vision 3D in its current home at Disney Hollywood Studios to make way for new Monsters Incorporated land. And they're thinking, well, what do we do with all the content? And folks are suggesting some of this could really fit in well within an Apple Vision Pro environment or such.
Yeah.
So it would be fun to see them starting to put some of that material into Apple Vision Pro.
That would be really neat.
Yeah. And they're going to have a Muppets theme reimagining of Rock and Roll Roller Coaster. Yeah. So that's all cool. This is all Disney news. It's coming from wdwmagic.com. So if you haven't been convinced, when I first went to this article, when I saw the link to it, I opened it up, and what did I get? But the first pop-up ad that occurred was, it's a great time to go to Disney World, Disneyland, whatever, for you and your family. And I'm like, you don't even know how old I am. You're just throwing it. You're assuming that if I'm coming here, you're just throwing that stuff up.
But you're never too old to go to Disney.
Oh, I was too old. I was president of an association, and we had regional conferences that year. So I had to go to all of the regions' conferences in like 6 weeks. I was out of town and in these different conferences, and one of them was in Anaheim. And I had been to Disney, World in Florida a couple of times. One time I wasn't going to go, but everybody was going to go over to Epcot and see the fireworks and all that stuff. And a group finally said, we have a ticket for you, and we're going to drink around the world. So I went to that, and I said, I'll never go back to Disney. I wound up taking my kids there because I had a job interview down in Florida. And then I went to this association meeting in Anaheim, and all I did was get strollers thrown into my ankles. Everywhere I walked, I was getting strollers thrown into my ankles. So me and Disney have long parted in that kind of ways. So let's see. I don't know if. Let's do this one. And this is actually a YouTube video. And I don't know if it will allow me to show it through this stream. We'll see. Oh, it is. Amazing. And I probably should, be careful about using YouTube's content on this. So we don't have a takedown message. But essentially, it's a company that seems to be customizing and color customizing your Vision Pros if you want to Vision Pro them. So I think a little cheaper than that $30,000 option that we saw earlier, but still interesting that it's sort of, like they did with phones at one time. You could send out your aluminum phones and have them in all sorts of crazy colors. And the video goes on to show someone actually painting the solo strap in black, and just interesting that folks are starting to mod these things in the way they're going to mod it. So I'm perfectly happy with the colors they come in right now, which is one. That makes it really easy. Then again, it's Apple Insider. You never know. One day they're hot and one day they're cold. And it just is kind of weird to me that this is another case of cold. So a couple of weeks ago, we presented some articles of them talking about how wonderful the widescreen display has now saved Apple Vision Pro. And then Tom's Guide, we'll go right to this. This is the article that I thought was, Tom's Guide is always on the edge with Apple Vision Pro. It took them a while to come out with anything that about the Vision Pro, and they came out with it and they were, it's okay. It's expensive, by the way. Did you know it costs $3,500? But this article is kind of saying, if we look at what happened with flip phones, and we look what happened with Vision Pro, there was kind of a rush for interest Vision Pro, and then it all dissipated, according to Tom's Guide. Now they're using that as kind of, well, if Apple makes a foldable phone or an iPhone flip, they're going to run into the same thing. It's going to be a niche market. People aren't going to be interested in it. And folks might not be convinced that based on the experience with the Apple Vision Pro and the sales with the Apple Vision Pro. And, it does talk about boosting life in product categories, smartphones, MP3 players, or tablet computers. But it just, in their mind, in Tom's mind, I guess, it just does not feel like the Vision. It doesn't feel like the Vision Pro is one of those products that was boosting it. So for what it's worth, there's that article. All right. And we'll see what they come up with next in terms of ideas. Let's see. This, I think, is pretty cool. When we hear about it, it's dying, it's going to die. Don't worry, it's going to die. We've got about, 4 or 5 more stories here. This one I got excited about, and I'm not even a soccer fan. Or football, excuse me. It's Real Madrid is in negotiations with Apple to create AR glasses for immersive match day experience. And
that sounds really cool.
Yeah. And I don't know what that means, and I don't think they're very clear on what that means, but the idea of maybe someone on the field wearing glasses that can capture the action that's on the field sounds pretty cool. It's what I've been wanting. It's what I've been wanting from a sports experience. And I've said before, even if they, like in baseball games, if they just put spatial cameras that aren't doing anything, aren't moving on the field, I think it would be cool to be able to shift from camera to camera and just get that spatial sort of view. Streaming might be difficult because of the bandwidth that's associated with it, or maybe not. So that I thought was a cool story about Real Madrid. Here's one we're all excited about. Microsoft announces Windows 11 integration with MetaQuest headsets that will let you easily stream your PC inside VR. Do you have any thoughts on this?
Well, there's nothing like, going into virtual reality to get out of reality, only to go to work by putting your PC there. Now, maybe for gaming, I'm guessing that's why they're interested in it.
Yeah.
And the Vision Pro as a display still is one of their most defendable uses. That's not just entertainment. So if you can game and there's enough resolution in the MetaQuest and it's got the controllers, I don't know how great the experience will be, but
Yeah, I mean, to me, it sounds like, you can pair your MetaQuest now. The idea that you're basically wirelessly streaming Windows 11 from your PC. So they're getting rid of the tether, like the Meta One, if you want to call it, or Oculus One, that was tethered to PCs. So the news here is they're getting rid of the tether, and then they're allowing you to work with your Windows 11. Now, could they make it work with like Vistas or maybe Windows 9, which is what everybody wants to go back to? Because Windows 11 can have its problem. Will it backwards? Is it backwards compatible with a version of Windows I can stand? So this was unveiled during its Ignite 2024 event. Soon, MetaQuest users will have a seamless and easy way to pair and stream their Windows 11 PC directly into their VR environment. So it's not just pairing it so you can put something on a screen that's on your Windows, and that's how the tethered piece kind of worked. And also games, I think, were a part of that. So interesting move by Microsoft. And we're gonna show this one here. Meta thinks its Orion augmented reality glasses can be the AirPods of AR.
But where's the price?
Oh, the price is further down the article, where they talk about the $10,000 price as it stands. The $10,000 price. I got a pair of Meta Ray-Bans, and they're interesting. But to start talking about Orion and augmented reality glasses that can be the AirPods of AR, when the thing is not supposed to even hit the market until 2027. And this is Ben Lovejoy. This is coming out of 9 to 5 Mac. So Ben Lovejoy is generally pretty good, but I don't know why he's dishing this stuff up.
Well, there isn't quite anything else yet with that form factor, but yeah.
Yeah, there isn't something with the form factor. They don't even have the form factor.
Well, if it costs $10,000 to manufacture, it's going to cost more to buy.
Yeah, well, I think they dumped everything into this set of glasses that they could possibly dump into it at this point with the technology that they have.
Yeah.
And the price tag is $10,000. Sort of like Apple put everything they could into Vision Pro, and the price tag happens to be $3,500. So, who knows?
Very true.
And following that up, one of my favorite places to go for information is Digitimes Asia. And Digitimes Asia is, again, sort of doing a promotion for Meta Orion. It outshines Apple Vision Pro as the next-gen tech breakthrough. I don't know how it can outshine Apple Vision Pro when the product isn't even on the market. And it's just...
Yes. One product you can actually have.
I can guarantee the person sitting on the couch with the Meta glasses on them, or the Orion glasses on them, that's not a real set of Orion glasses. So Mark Zuckerberg introduced Orion, a highly anticipated prototype that isn't going to show up for another 4 years. And Orion signifies a pivotal step in Meta's pursuit. And then it says you need a paid subscription in order to read the rest of this. Thank you, Digitimes Asia. Have you played with Niantic's Hello Dot? Oh,
it looks interesting, but I have not had a chance to play with that.
I just downloaded it and I played with it. It's interesting. It's free.
Hmm.
I'm wondering if this is going to turn into a kind of digital assistant eventually, where we'll not assistant like a pet, a digital pet.
Yeah.
It's a digital pet
Hmm.
rock, basically, or a Tamagotchi. It might be a better
Yeah.
kind of thing. It's
Hmm.
planning to extend its experience for Quest 3 headsets sometime in 2025. Niantic is best known for developing the development studio behind mobile gaming powerhouse Pokemon Go. While few people use the AR features in the game in their phone, the studio is developing a world map and other technologies that could eventually power impressive experiences in mixed reality. So Oliver said he tried it a few days ago. What did you do with it, Oliver? Very gimmicky, probably an app I'll never open again, but it was fun to play around with for
Hmm.
10 minutes. Well, that's not going to sell a lot if the interest level ends in 10 minutes. And there are probably other things. Oliver, I'd assume there are probably other things and Gern tried it too. So there are probably other things you'd rather spend your 10 minutes with at this point. Now that the thrill of Hello Dot has kind of fallen off. So I'll go in. I'll only plan for 5 minutes. It was fun for 2 minutes. Gern says that in the chat room. Thank you, Lyra. Thank you for reassuring us of the issues coming up. So game time. Do we want to talk games? You running
Why not?
anything fun this week? I've got a couple to talk about.
Okay, go ahead. Because
This one, I get notification about new games probably in Reddit before I get to see it anywhere else. And so this one I thought I'm going to switch to Halo Spear.
yeah.
Let me tell you, the ad looks better than the app. It's not bad. I mean, it's close to the experience, but what I've seen in terms of video of it, I was in. There are some free modules that you can go to, and this is their website where they talk about different things. You can travel and learn in VR without borders. So I'm scrolling a little too fast in here. You get this big globe which has some of their pre-recorded videos in there, and you can go to different areas and see that. Now, I shouldn't bury the lead on it. They have top destinations: Iceland, Japan, Norway. 360. It is a 360 video player. I was in Mexico, out San Cabo, and they were out in a boat, and you could look up at the cliffs. And but I did notice that there was a little bit of distortion line in it. So the 360 the 360 is there, but you can see some different levels of it. Oh, that's
How was the resolution?
The resolution was pretty good. However, I was watching the Mexico, and they were shooting above the beach. And if you look in the distant, things get a little fuzzy. And I couldn't tell, is this fuzziness around the actual from the video, or if this is sort of like a heat representation coming up off the sand.
Yeah.
So it lost some of its crispness in certain distances. And then the same sort of thing happened when we were out on the boat going around. Okay, so I shouldn't let you. I think I might spend $10.99. The monthly subscription is $10.99 for this. This is the app link.
Yeah, I tried going. There was one place that linked to like underwater coral.
Yeah.
And other than not giving you a warning that all of a sudden you were going to be in a spot with no oxygen, which I thought was unfair. Yeah, my only issue is that the resolution on that was so low. That was disappointing. So I was a little unsure I wanted to spend money on a subscription, or if everything you could subscribe to was a better resolution. So maybe if you try it for a month, go a bunch of places, and then let me know.
Yeah, and Oliver is saying in the chat room that I might need to get new Zeiss optical inserts for my Vision Pro because he thought the video was pretty shaky. When we talk about the subscription rate here, monthly subscription is $10.99. Annual subscription is $120. So you save $12 in the process. Oliver, ironically, Oliver, I had my eyes tested about a month ago, got new prescriptions, new contacts, and also Zeiss lenses. So I don't know if it's going to get any better for me. We'll see how it turns out. But yeah, we have talked about Explore POV in previous shows, and that's pretty cool too. So yeah. So that's one app I wanted to talk about. I'll drop the $11 down so you can save you some money, so you can get a 512 headset on your own. And then the other app I wanted to talk about, I don't have much on this, but story spatial storytelling. And I guess you pull together media and you can create little stories as a result of it. There are a couple of apps that are like story apps. And so I saw this in Reddit and then went to look for the story and did a search. And, all of the story ones have to have their own column, so you can find the right story one. The other one that I saw was one that basically did a little story on your desktop, and that was the plan with that. It's designed for the Vision Pro, and I like apps that are just designed for the Vision Pro. Obviously, it's designed for the Vision Pro because a lot of the story that you're creating is spatial. You can do all sorts of things with it in terms of timeline and content and interaction. So, yeah, it looks like an interesting app. Some good reviews on it. It's into version 2.0.4. So they haven't created and let it and said goodbye. And it's only been in the 1.0 version since September. So they're working through whatever they can in terms of to make it good. This price is free. Now, I don't know how they make money. So if there's other options that you can buy into, it's not considered part of the initial buy-in for this. So that's all we got, I think, at this point.
It's a good amount of content.
Yeah, it's a good. Yeah, we've gone about an hour, a little over. So we should probably wrap it up for this week. You're going to be you're staying in your location. You're not going anywhere.
Yep.
You're staying local for your Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And we will be back recording again on Monday, a week from today, as part of our usual regular recording. Thanks to Gern and Oliver for joining us in the chat room and having a lot of fun with it. And I've been looking over at this screen to read what they're saying, just because they've had some really good points. So thanks for joining us, and anybody can join us on Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube at youtube.com/@visionprofiles. And that will get you to our channel where you can look for the live broadcast. We're doing something different. Eric and I are playing around with Ecamm. So the video is going to look a little different. We've got this split screen here, and we can. The reason I wanted to do it because I wanted to shift over to be able to show a full display of the articles we're talking about. So it's not just us talking about it, but you can look at it too. The best resolution that we can get for you on it. But Ecamm is where I'm stretching my wings a little bit and trying this out, and it's a learning curve. So pardon the errors if you see those as they come up. But this would be my second full show of doing it with Ecamm. And the first one, thank God you weren't watching that. But it's kind of fun. I'm enjoying it now, and I think I got a pace for it. So that's all I got to say. Well, we should be hearing from Vision Focus, which is the joint effort we do with Chuck Joyner, where we talked about the top 10 things you should do the first time you get a Vision Pro. And that show he's in production with. He's also doing his Christmas shopping shows. So what are things that you might want to get if you're looking on the shopping? So he's busy, but we're anticipating the Vision Focus show on the top 10 things. And I think he said he might split the show. Do you remember that?
Possibly.
He might split it into two episodes. And that's a show where we just kind of talk conceptually about Vision Pro. We don't bring the news in. We don't talk about what's going on in the competition. Each show is a different concept. So look out for that. Thanks for tuning in. We'd love to hear from our listeners. If you have any ideas or want to join in an episode, email us at visionprofilespodcast@gmail.com. Our bumper music is Free Jazzy by Steve Combs, courtesy of the Free Music Archive. You can learn about us by going to thepodtalk.net. That's the Pod Talk. And we have a page on that. That's a site where I collect all the podcasts, and you can find out a little bit more and also see, I think you can link directly to episodes off that page, if I remember correctly. So, Eric, what's your favorite Thanksgiving side?
Oh, cranberries?
Just plain cranberries or the cranberry gel?
Just jellied cranberries, either out of the can or homemade jellied.
So
I just the relish is okay too, but
so you walk around with an open can of cranberry gel and kind of just consume it. Wow.
But it's good later too, like over the top of things.
Yeah. I'm going to say something really bland. Corn. I just really like corn. Out of all the things to choose from. I mean, the stuffing is great, but that is guaranteed reflux for me later on in the day. Everything now in Thanksgiving is guaranteed reflux. So we'll find out. You'll find out our menu maybe on the next show and what we got to eat, what worked and what didn't work. And join us and spread the news about Vision Profiles to other visionaries. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.